The best way to get better at programming is with practice. So in this example, we're going to be working with conditions, specifically the if and the ElIf. Building upon a previous example, we're going to get the average of a test scores and then determine what letter grade. For simplicity, we're going to use a 10-point scale. You can pause this video to come up with an answer and then check your answer when you're done. All right, so for simplicity, what we're going to do is simply assign grade. And to make it a little bit easier, we're going to go back to our previous sample and copy and paste that information. That's easy. So let's go ahead and figure out the different types of doing ifs. So we're going to first start off with if average is greater than or equal to 90. If it is, we're going to print you get an A. We're going to come back, and we're not going to be indenting this. This is going to be the same line as the if. This is going to be an else if. Python has a built-in command for this called ElIf. And this is like saying else if, and then we can test something else. Average is greater than or equal to 80. Now, you might instinctively ask, well, what happens if it's 90? Well, if it's 90, it's captured by that first if, and then it goes all the way to the end after all my other else ifs. So we can work our way down using greater than or equal to, and it'll work just fine. Because once it's captured, nothing else matters. Now, what happens here is if we have less than a 60, we're going to get a different grade. Since anything less than a 60 is an F, we don't have to worry about saying else if greater than 0. We can simply say else. This way, it captures anything else that wasn't captured before and found to be true in one of our previous conditions of this set of if blocks. So we're going to go ahead and run this. Now at this point, we're not displaying what our average is. And so we want to have that just so we can kind of test things out. So what I'm going to do is after we calculate the average, I'm going to print your average is A, and then we'll do the average. So we save and run. Notice it comes up, your average is 79.33333. That's a C. This is a really good test because 79.33, notice that it's not rounding, okay? It's a 79. 79 is less than 80, so it didn't calculate that. If I simply come in here and say, you know what? I'm going to make this a 68 and run this again. Notice that now the average is an 80.0, which gets us that B. So we had two really close values, and you can see we got a C and we got a B simply by changing one little grade. Now, if we come in here and say, hey, you know what, 98, what would that give us? Well, you can see that gives us exactly a 90.0, which is the A. On the other hand, if I had a 58 and I had a 62 there, just as an example, we can run that. Notice that gets us a D. That's kind of what we would expect. And just to kind of test one more time, Now notice that we get a 56.6. That's less than a 60. So none of those if conditions were met and caught. Therefore, we get the printed out statement, you didn't pass. So this is working exactly as we expect. We'll have some more examples for conditions and other things coming up in future videos.